What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here with The Distance. Got a video for you guys for my last two predictions of the year. This one is going to be for vicious Victor Ortiz versus Lamont Peterson. Matchup takes place December 11th, which is this Saturday, on HBO on the undercard of Amir Khan versus Marcos Maidana. Puts together two quality contenders against each other, Lamont Peterson and vicious Victor Ortiz. Both of them pretty much pretty much coming out of big losses in 2009. June 26, not Amir Khan, but Victor Ortiz had lost the matchup that could set him up for this main event fight. Khan versus Maidana, lost the matchup to Maidana when he was knocked out. Or pretty much he quit in the matchup, and he said stuff like he didn't deserve to be hit that way, this, that, and the other. But I'm like, come on, dude, it's boxing. You know, you're gonna get hit. He got hit. He did, and I would understand if he did quit because his eye was messing up, because how quickly his eyes swelled up after the matchup. But he quit the matchup, and he's received a lot of criticism, and and some people look at him more negatively now than they did at the end of 2008, beginning of 2009. Because at the beginning of 2009, a lot of people were really high on Victor Ortiz. They're just really high on him. A lot of people expect him to be a future star in boxing. And me, I do expect him to be a future star. I think that he's the type of fighter that people want to see. And even though he's fought safely in a few matchups, he's starting to slowly build that intensity and killer instinct that he had back. He's slowly building it back up, because he fought kind of safe during his comeback fight against Antonio Diaz. He fought a little bit safe in his matchup against Nate Campbell. The matchup in February I didn't watch, so I can't really comment on that one. And then against Vivian Harris, he knocked him out early, and Vivian Harris had been in the ring with another contender, Lucas Matisse, who's in a close matchup against Zab Judah on the 6th of November. Overall, I think that his knockout meant a lot more than Matisse's knockout, because Ortiz's knockout was more convincing. It was more of a knockout. And the Matisse knockout was just an early stoppage. But Victor Ortiz is starting to build his killer instinct back after that loss. I think that the loss to Maidana has made him a smarter fighter and more well aware of his surroundings in the ring. And I think his boxing IQ is something that's a little bit underrated, because he's a fighter that can move. He's a fighter that could stand and fight. But at the same time, the fact that he could stand and fight, and his defense is a little suspect. And I'm not saying he has a suspect chin, but his defense is a little suspect due to the fact that against Maidana he got hit a lot. Pretty much all the rounds he got hit, and he's shown the ability to get countered easily in a way against a fighter who's much smaller, more compact, and just went right up the middle on him. He went right up the middle. He just kept countering with the same shot. And Ortiz just kept leading in with the same shot. The whole entire fight. If you look at the Maidana versus Ortiz matchup from June 26th of last year, they both were leading in with hooks, but it was all about who had the harder hook that landed. And Maidana's hook landed. It didn't necessarily land at will, but when he landed it, it was more effective. It took more out of Ortiz than Ortiz's hook over Maidana. Despite the fact that Ortiz knocked Maidana down a few times in the fight, or excuse me, about 2 times in the fight, 2-3 times in the matchup, Maidana was getting the best of him. He kept coming forward, he kept pressing the action. Then when it got past like round 5 or 6, where a lot of people thought the matchup would have probably been over by then, Ortiz, it just seems as if Ortiz didn't know what to do, and Maidana just kept getting inside and hitting him. And then if you look at the Nate Campbell fight, he just boxed with Nate Campbell. He outworked him, he outboxed him, and it showed that he had some versatility as a fighter, just being able to outbox him. Lamont Peterson, on the other hand, Lamont Peterson has not had the luxury of facing, some high quality opponents that Victor Ortiz has faced. Lamont Peterson, again, when he fought Timothy Bradley December 12th of last year, when he fought Timothy Bradley, honestly, I thought Lamont Peterson was going to win because, his boxing ability was very good. I thought he had, and not only that, he had some physical advantages in the fight. When he fought Timothy Bradley, you could just see that mentally he wasn't mature enough to be in the ring with Timothy Bradley. Timothy Bradley just looked superior to Lamont Peterson in this matchup. If you look at the matchup, one thing to look at is when Lamont Peterson started to get in trouble, he lost control of his body. His body language told Timothy Bradley everything. He would swing for the fences, knowing his power wasn't wasn't this big world class power. He doesn't have world class power. He's not necessarily a knockout puncher. He's more of a boxer. He's a technical boxer, and he keeps things and he's a thinking boxer. He thinks a lot. And in this matchup against Timothy Bradley, he had trouble staying outside. He lost control of his body. If you look at how he swings and how he lost his footing, he would lose his footing. He swing and look for shots that weren't even there. It was just a very sloppy fight for Lamont Peterson, and that's because he just even with 24 fights under his belt, he wasn't ready for Timothy Bradley. And that's probably because he didn't really have that opponent that prepared him for Timothy Bradley. Either that or Timothy Bradley's just that damn good. Who knows? And that's not even taking anything away from Timothy Bradley, because I do think he's the best 140-pounder right now. And the matchup against Devin Alexander is going to, solidify that. If he wins or if Devin Alexander wins, I think that solidifies the top spot at 140. And I've been talking for about 10 minutes about this now. But, I get about an hour to talk anyway, but I'm not going to use that whole hour to effect. But Victor Ortiz in this matchup, I think, has to be aggressive. I think that there's shots that Victor Ortiz can land on Lamont Peterson that Timothy Bradley landed that would have knocked out Lamont Peterson. What Victor Ortiz needs to focus on in this matchup is kind of changing his style a little bit. Maybe in the early goings of the fight, he does want to box. Go in and box against Lamont Peterson. Take the jab away. Kind of get a few shots inside. Go to the body occasionally. Land hooks to the body, but throw the jab and pretty much get the hand back. Get the hand back in time so he doesn't get countered. Also in this matchup, somebody does want to look at is the straight left hand to the body, a shot that's going to be open against Lamont Peterson. The right hook to the body, another shot that's going to be open because of how he positions his hands. He does kind of protect himself from body shots, but against Bradley, a lot of those shots went through. I think pretty much just pressuring Lamont Peterson, but pressuring him and using angles. If he comes forward, pressure him. Use straight punches when he comes forward. But when he uses angles, try the left hook from the angle, because I honestly don't think that Lamont Peterson has a style to protect himself all too well from the left hook. Coming from an angle, I don't think his defense is all too good, especially against speedy fighters. It's decent because he kind of has kind of a shell, and he kind of stands straight up. But he doesn't really use that size to an advantage. He doesn't really use it to any effect. So, use angles. Try to get them offset. Use the left hook. Set up little traps defensively to set up counters against Peterson, and pretty much try to keep Peterson on the defensive. Try to outwork him. I think that he should take this matchup just based on that. Lamont Peterson has to fight a very intelligent fight against Victor Ortiz. Lamont Peterson, I believe, has a longer reach. I think he does. But in this matchup, I think he wants to use a lot of movement. He wants to use a lot of movement. He wants to pretty much just box on the move, create angles, keep space as well. Keep as much space as possible. Use the jab, and use the jab effectively. Use the jab to maybe set up a power shot, but after when he finds his power shots, when he finds his openings, he has to be very smart finding the openings, because Victor Ortiz has a great deal of power in both hands. Get the hand back, move as soon as he gets his shot off, as soon as he finds his openings. Look for openings offensively. Try to hook off the jab. Try to land a lot of shots from the outside. The mistake that he made against Timothy Bradley was he stood there and he fought with him. Against Victor Ortiz, he doesn't want to stand there and fight with him. He just wants to jab. He wants a lot of movement. He wants Ortiz to chase him. He wants to pretty much keep Ortiz at bay with that jab the entire fight, and it's not going to be it's not going to be a dog fight for Lamont Peterson. I don't think he's going to stand there and fight Victor Ortiz. He shouldn't stand there and fight Victor Ortiz, because Timothy Bradley was hurting him and beating him up, and Timothy Bradley is not as well as not a big knockout puncher, not a big knockout artist. So I think that Lamont Peterson just has to focus pretty much on boxing, and just moving a lot, keeping Ortiz at bay with the jab, and he should pretty much take this matchup. If he can stick to a game plan that makes him more offensive than Victor Ortiz and takes the offense away from Victor Ortiz, then I think he could probably take this matchup. So with all that being said, who do I think is going to win? I'm going to go with Victor Ortiz by a 9th round knockout. I think he can knock out Lamont Peterson in 9 rounds, due to the fact that I think that Ortiz still, at this stage of his career, is more mentally adjusted to boxing and being at this level. I think he's more mentally adjusted to it than Lamont Peterson. And that Bradley fight pretty much just says it all. If you look at the fight, look at the body language. His body language was just predictable when Bradley was hitting him with shots. And he was easy to hit against Bradley. He let Bradley just control the fight. And Victor Ortiz is a fighter that throws a lot of punches. He's a fighter that is dangerous in every round. And he's a fighter that can box as well as he can fight, I think he can box as well as he can fight. So I'm going to go with Victor Ortiz 9th round knockout. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. That was The Distance. Peace.